Hello everyone, I am back after a brief hiatus. It was actually a little bit longer than I was expecting it to be. Had a lot going on, and on top of that I lent out my video equipment to a friend, and that meant that I was without the ability to generate some videos. The last video I posted, of course, was the joke video that my wife did, the unboxing of the Albion Kern, and we will be revisiting that. I am going to do a first impression videos here soon with that one. And so I'll actually talk a bit about the Kern without it being a formal review. And part of the reason behind that is I'm actually going to change the way I'm doing my unboxings. I'm doing an unboxing here in just a moment. And the way I'm going to change this is I'm going to make it less about the surprise of opening the box and saying what's inside of it, and more about the first impressions. And this isn't going to be a formal review, but this is going to be at least a little bit more in depth than what I've done in the past. I think that's more beneficial to the community, and especially because I seem to get more things to unbox than I get time to review all the things that have come in. And so at this point I want to be able to at least give first impressions, even if I never get around to doing a formal review of it. So we're going to go through this unboxing. This is a pretty interesting one. It has been sent to me by a loyal viewer, subscriber, and even Patreon user. So I just wanted to thank Chaosism for sending this. I really appreciate it. It's wonderful, and we're going to dive right in, get this thing unboxed. I do know what this is. I did get a heads up, and I'm interested to actually get a chance to see it in person. I was sent a picture of it, and I've seen these items before, but not quite like this. So here we go. Quick unboxing, hopefully. Oh, well, I say quick and I forget to cut everything. There we go. And inside the box, I have a nice little sheath here. It's actually a very nice little sheath. It looks like it's actually a molded plastic. So I'll come back to this in a moment. This is a very different type of item in terms of the kind of medieval theming that tends to happen on this channel. And I have talked to these people before, and I've actually done interviews with them the last time I did the Blade Show. And here we go. Here it is. This is a dagger from Sabersmith. Nice little small compact dagger. And I talked to Sabersmith, Tim, the proprietor, talked to him at the Blade Show, and I know he's been doing a lot of actually both in some ways custom work as well as just a lot of new items. I've seen them around. They were at the Blade Show again fairly recently, although I did not see Tim there. And I have mixed feelings in some ways about their items. More specifically, their larger items, their swords and their actual sabers and maces and hammers. They go for a very, very straight but sometimes overbuilt design and implementation. And they also at the same time go for a somewhat more simple but still stylized design. So this dagger is actually no exception to that. In terms of the simplicity of it, it is a very, very basic dagger. I'm going to bring it in a little bit closer here so you can see it. It's a very basic dagger. I'm going to say it looks like it's about 8 inches, 6 to 8 inches on the blade, probably about a foot overall, I would say, and that's just guessing. I don't know what that is in centimeters, I apologize. And the design of it is all pretty straightforward, very, very simple, round kind of pommel, and the cross has this kind of hourglass shape at the quillions. And it's a very, very simple design, but here's going to be my thing about Sabersmith. So, like I said, I feel like sometimes their bigger items are overbuilt, but a dagger, their daggers are actually really kind of what you would want in a nice little dagger. It's going to be very sturdy, and in fact, first impressions looking at it here, they've done a very, very clean construction. Where the blade meets the cross, there's really no real sizable gap. You can maybe slip a piece of paper in between. It has to be a very, very thin piece of paper. But in general, it's very, very well constructed. I'm actually a little bit surprised by the leather wrapping. It feels really, really sturdy and tight on there, which is actually honestly not what I was expecting. I imagine they've achieved that by not only having it wetted before they stretch it across, but also gluing it pretty well. And this is one of those cases where they're kind of, I almost want to call it like a Dark Ages aesthetic, where it has this kind of very crude style wrapping, even though the implementation isn't crude, it's designed to look a little bit more crude. It really works in its favor. And the sheath is a little bit different. Like I said, it felt like it was plastic. I'm gonna have to go research that. If it is not plastic, I will eat crow, and I will come back to you and say, oh no, I was wrong, it is not plastic. It is in fact something else. Let's see here. There is, I think it's supposed to go this way. I'm actually not certain which way this is supposed to go in here. So the clasp for this buckle doesn't quite fit around. I'm gonna have to go figure out exactly how that's meant. It might have been shifted in shipping. But yeah, this feels like it's a type of plastic that has been molded into a little sheath, and it holds it okay. You know what? I know exactly what this is. This goes around the handle. There we go. I knew there's a reason for it. So there we go, have it in the little dagger kind of as a frog. This reminds me a lot of the implementations of daggers and honestly swords with sword frogs that people used to do, I'm gonna just say back in the day. A lot more attention in terms of making this acceptable for something like a Renaissance festival, being able to secure things real easily on the belt, real simple clasp mechanic to get the dagger out. With daggers especially, I'm always a little bit less concerned with things like balance, etc. And really having the balance deep into the handle is actually a very good thing, and that's exactly what's happening here. A lot of the weight is actually in the handle, and in fact you can basically see the balance point is right at the cross, maybe a little bit back further from it. If I can get it to actually balance. Having a little bit of trouble there because of the shape of the wrapping. But it is essentially right here where my fingers are. And that gives it this nice little feel. It's in the hand. It's almost like holding a really nice steak knife. Anytime you've used kitchen knives, or anyone who does a lot of cooking or deals with kitchen knives, etc., you know that you want the weight in the handle so you have good blade control with finer things, and that's true with the little dagger here. And I actually really like the size of this because it'd be very easy for them to just make really big daggers, but having a nice small dagger is really cool. So yeah, my first impression is this is a very cleanly built piece. I'm not sure, but I'm guessing that it's a solid piece from pommel to blade. I wouldn't really be able to know without undoing it all, but I don't see a peen. So this has either been bolted on as a screw pommel and probably glued, or it's one solid piece through that's just been machined to that shape with the cross fit over on top. But it's hard for me to really know exactly how they built it, because I don't know how they construct their items. But I'm actually really happy with this. This is a fun little dagger. I don't know exactly what I would do in terms of tests with it for review. I will have to go invent some, perhaps. I'm not going to go up and like stab a big water bottle like 100 times and say, oh, this is a, it's a dagger. It will stab. It's got a really, really sharp point. I don't know if you can see how acute that is on the video, but that is an extremely sharp taper. It tapers very, very quickly down to that tip, or rather, it comes to that very acute point, and the edges are moderately blunt, actually. So this is really just going to be a stabbing dagger right now, unless I were to go into any more sharpening. So yeah, this is a quite blunt. It's not going to cut on the edge there at all. But boy, that tip will go into something really easily. So yeah, overall, if you're looking for a good dagger with this kind of design aesthetic, I don't think you can go wrong with Sabersmith. They certainly have done just a really fantastic job in this implementation, and I think it's really quite elegant and beautiful. Again, I don't know that I always say that for everything that they built, but there's a certain design aesthetic that people go for, and that if this is what you're going for, this is definitely an awesome, awesome design. And I'm really impressed by their work. I'd like to see more of their work to bring things more into line with kind of historically accurate swords as far as Sabersmith is concerned, but with their daggers, I'm happy with what this is. I think it's a fun little piece, and I don't have enough daggers in my collection, so this is a great addition. Thank you again, Chaosism, for sending me this. I really appreciate it. I will do a review of this at some point, but hopefully this first impression is sufficient enough to give some people information, even if I never get strictly around to doing a review of it. And like I said, that's going to be how these unboxing videos go in the future. I'm going to try to give a lot more of those impressions. Last thing, it kind of rattles in the plastic sheath. It's not super tight, but what would you expect with a kind of pre-molded plastic sheath? So there you go. First impressions of a Sabersmith Dagger. I will, of course, put links and all of that in the description, so you can go find this online. Cheers, everyone. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. You can also check out Medieval Review on Patreon.